So now we're moving into the second of the scholar spaces, which is creator. In a way, this is the central space, perhaps the most important space of the whole scholar environment. And here I want to start talking about the second of the main ideas that I'm discussing in these videos, which is the idea of multimodal meaning making. So here I am now in the creator space, and I'm a student that's being asked to write an article about climate change, a scientific argument about climate change. This is just an example. It's an unfinished piece of work, and I'm using it just to demonstrate in this little example how this the creator space works as a multimodal knowledge representation space. So I'll take you first to this workspace here, and you can see we have an editor across the top here, and it's strictly speaking a semantic editor, which means there's no typography in here. There are no fonts, there are no point sizes, there are no colours, and see that there, you might think that is an italic, but in fact it's emphasis. And see here, global weather, well, that's a concept which I've emphasised, and if I decided to de-emphasise it, I would do this, and it's no longer emphasised. So that's an emphasis. I can do lists of various kinds, and see here, this is a block quote. So see, when I do that there, and I select it, it indents. It's not an indent, it's actually it's a block quote. So, in other words, what I'm doing, I'm defining what's happening in the text by its textual purposes, not by the way in which it looks. Now, just to give you an example as to why this is relevant, if I want to do a plagiarism check later through this text, and this has been defined as a block quote, I will know that in fact it's something which has been taken from somewhere else, and hopefully I haven't put a citation in yet, but hopefully I will be putting in a citation. So this kind of semantic markup, it's called, is a very important process. For us, this is quite a dramatic departure from the world of word processing. I can do all sorts of other things in this space. I can add a table, I can add a live link to anywhere else on the web, I can put in an image, I can put in a video in line, I can put in audio in line, and I can also put in any other file, which might be a data set. So for example, if I'm a designer, it might be a CAD file, it might be a manipulable data set where I want somebody not just to see the pie charts that have come out of my Excel work, but the data on which the pie charts are based. So it allows the other person to download and manipulate that particular text as well. So this gives you a sense of this editor, and the editor is in fact, that is the whole editor. And it will allow us to do a tremendous number of very, very powerful things. Now, what I have in my world is I have works. I don't have documents. And what happens is I don't put these works in folders. I tag them. And in fact, if I want to see a big list of them, you can open out the big list and see them all. And what happens is also my works are of several different types. There are creator works, which are things that I have written, contributor works, which are things I'm giving feedback on, which is other people's works, where I have access to the read-only access to make comments and give them feedback, and I have publisher works where I'm coordinating the knowledge community and I'm reviewing the progress of works as they go through. So I have these different role relationships to works, and unlike, we call this interpersonal computing, because unlike personal computing, look, I've got the file on my computer, nobody else can find it. Until I email it, nobody else can see it. When I email it, it's called, work number 73, and the next person, it's completely inscrutable what's what, things are not findable. This is a highly structured and controlled relationship to a single source, which is where that work is kept based on different role relationships. Now let me go on now and talk about some other aspects of this workspace. So here you can see a little scroll bar down the side, but we actually don't want scrolling. I'm going to go to this About This workspace now, and I'm going to show you the next tool, which is called the Structure tool. Okay, the Structure tool is how I organize my information analytically. So here you can see this is the introduction, and I've got a section here on the balance of scientific evidence, and I've got a subsection on the impact of climate change, another subsection on greenhouse gases. This could be this could be as long as a book with this kind of fold-out architecture. And the idea is that what I'm doing is I'm thinking about the information architecture of my work. I don't actually have a lot of scrolling. I don't have any pages in this process. It's something where I'm really focused on the architecture of my thinking. And here, what I can do is if at any point I want to change the way I'm thinking, see up here, I might move that up there because I want it in the introduction. No, that's not right. I'm going to put it down here and talk about it under historical fluctuations. And if I want to make a second order head, I might move that down as well. And if I want to make it a second order head, I do this. So I can rearrange my thinking, and I can think analytically about the structure of my thought as I go. Now, one of the advantages of this whole structural and semantic setup is here when I go to look at my work, I can download it as a PDF, or I can view it in a browser, and in just a matter of seconds, it creates this beautifully laid out work. There's the emphasis, there's the block quote, there are images, there might be video in here, there might be data sets, all the heading levels are right, and this is still something. So I can look at my work anywhere along the line, but this is how we produce these beautiful 21st century texts. So that gives you a little introduction now to the basic editing functions of this work. I might say also the info area is one where I create the title, and I can change the title now if I want to edit it, but I create the title and the subtitle, abstract keywords, and this appears up the top here. But the idea is, I mean, in classical text, there's a distinction between data and metadata. Well, here there's only just one space. There is no distinction between data and metadata, and this is where you construct the overall information about the work, which then comes through when I produce that work as a web page or as a PDF.